Good evening, and welcome to another edition of the HideNet Weekend Market Report covering North America, Latin America, and Europe. My name is Don Oshman, Editor-in-Chief of HideNet Publications. Latin America this week, David Guolo reports from Novo Hamburgo that kills remain very low. Some packers closed altogether. Some are closed 2 or 3 days a week. Typically, a slaughter is down about 30%. They cut their production about 30%, and sometimes even more. This is in the South especially. The population of Brazil can't afford the price of meat because there's not enough meat. The production's down, so even if demand were bigger than it is, it's priced itself out of competition. Sounds like the leather market and hide market. So therefore, restaurants which sell featured beef, I can never sense it, churrasco restaurants, are half empty, and people are eating more chicken and pork. It's just too expensive because there's just not enough production. Even with normal demand, but there isn't normal demand, so the whole thing is on a low ebb, and everybody can pick up the paper and see what's going on with the political situation in Brazil, which is awful. And they're in recession, and maybe not depression yet, but it seems to be coming that way. So the tanners have no chance to reduce the price of their green hides. They've got to pay through the nose to get enough supplies to keep their tanneries operating even on minimal levels and to keep their sales commitments going. And this affects automotive as well, not just shoe upper. The whole thing is awful. And then they have to charge, if they charge $1.30 for TR1 CFR, people can't afford to pay it. Most of their buyers can't or won't or refuse to pay it. So even if they can make some sales, they have to help more often than not below $1.30, $1.28, $1.29. Terrible time to be a tanner in Brazil. And low grades are also under pressure, but that's always the case, it seems. Also, I was going to say, automotive, which takes about 70% of Brazilian production, is what I've been estimated at, even they won't pay $1.30. So it's a very, very bad situation to be in Argentina in the tanning business today. Argentina prices rose a little bit this week in Buenos Aires for the steers due to a currency adjustment. Paraguay and Uruguay are essentially steady this past week. In Europe, Andrea Guolo is traveling this week, but reports that the European cow sector lost a little ground again, 3, 4, 5 cents. Irish 36 and up sold at $1.80 to $1.85 last week, and this week $1.75 to $1.80. Italian and Dutch cows were down a little depending on the weight range as well. Vealskin markets were basically steady on the higher grades. The low grades continue under pressure. European bull prices are steady and continued good automotive demand. South African lambskins were steady as well, and Iranian goatskins were also steady as well, if you're into the Iranian goatskin market. North America this week, with one exception, steers sold steady to the previous week, which surprised a lot of people, including your editor. I thought for sure, and we forecast it was going down, but we're not right 100% of the time. We think it's going to go down next week, and the details and why we think that are available at HideNet.com. Wet Blue Texas eased to $1.84, $85 a piece CNF on normal weights, but throughout this volume appeared low, and the consensus estimate is that not enough hides were sold. In other words, the slaughter exceeded sales, but that'll be shown up next week on HideNet when we get the USD, the export figures. Northern type Holstein cows were down to $56, $58 CNF. Branded cows, which is the glut, it's only about 15% of the production, is down to $35 to $38 CNF. It hasn't been this low to 2010. I think in 2008 or 2009, when the market fell out of everything, they got down to $5 or $6 a piece. We're not that bad yet, but they are down tremendously and they're tough to sell because the problems in Hebei province in China. Combined raw and blue exports fell 30% compared to last week, which was an unusually high week. And slaughter rose to close to 600,000 head as Americans eat more meat as the industry ramps up for the barbecue season, which starts at the end of May and Memorial Day weekend, followed by July 4th, a week or two later. That's major barbecue time. Our forecasts are usually right. Subscribe and see how much you can increase your profits by seeing what we can predict on the market. We also have a wonderful international report. This past week typically covered prices from A to U, not A to Z, Argentina to Uruguay, and with charts and graphs and watching the price movement. Also, we have our well-received This Week in Leather report, which covers U.S. footwear imports, footwear sales internationally, details of all brands are doing, manufacturers are doing, tanners, technology, trade show coverage, all this. Information creates profits, so don't miss out on the opportunities to increase your profits by watching and subscribing to HideNet.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.